Hello friends, welcome to ASP.NET tutorial. In this video, we will learn about server-side control. If you see previously also we rendered text box as well as command button as a client-side control using the HTML input tag. Right, now we will do the same with server-side control. From our previous example, we can use same button and text box as a server-side control. Previously, we used HTML input tag to generate the user navigable elements, text box as well as button. Now, we will generate same text box as well as button using the ASP server-side control. The script black in the side, we will be displaying that soon. The script black shows that the code language is C# and it runs on server side. So means it will run in IIS server. Server in the sense here we are using IIS server. So here you can see the page directive, and in that we specify language as C#. The attribute run at equal to server tells that a control or a specific code block will be created at server memory. So the attribute run at server tells that a control will be created at server memory, and here you can see there is a form tag and there is a closing form tag, and we specify ID for the form and specify the attribute run at server. Similarly, for the control, here we specify ASP column text box. That's the control name here, text box. For the second control, we specify ASP button. So by reading this ASP text box and button, the server knows that it needs to create a text box as well as button. For text box, we specify the ID. For button also, we specify ID, and here we use the text attribute to set a button caption. And you can notice for both the control, we specify run at equal to server attribute. The attribute run at server tells that control will be created at server memory. So when the request goes to the server, server knows that there is a ASP text box, so it will create a text box in server memory. We can say IIS memory. That will be a text box, right? Similarly, for the next control, it will create a button. So both are created in the server memory. Inside the script block, we can refer the control by its ID. And if you look at here, we have a script tag and it says script, and this is script run at server. Script black ends here. And inside you can see the C# code. Right, we already specified in the page directive the language what we are using is C#, and here we are writing the event handler code. Protected void page load, that means this specific handler will get called when page is loading. So during that time we are accessing the control txt name, which is here based on the ID. And we access the text property. Using this text property, we are setting certain text to the control. So inside the script block, we can refer the control by its ID, so txt name, and if you see it's txt name, that means the in-memory control is named as txt name. Whatever you provide here ID, with that same name we runtime control or in-memory control is referred txt name. So it's a normal C# text box control, and whatever property you can use with the C# text box control, the .NET control will mimic the same in-memory control. So you can access the text property and set text to the txt name. So that's what here we are doing, and when the page is rendered, it will display a text box, and inside the text box you will be seeing your name here. So by looking at the help text, user knows that they have to type their name inside the text box. Also, this label also will help the user what they have to do with the text box. So the server creates an in-memory control by reading this specific text. That's what we are saying here. If you see, there is one in-memory control. This is for text box, and there is one more in-memory control. That one is for the button. So the server creates an in-memory control as a member variable txt name. So this code goes in a class, and here we specify txt name. Right, the txt name is a member which represents a text box control. Server creates an in-memory control as a member variable which can be referred by the control ID. Right, the control ID here is txt name, and if you see here, we are referring the text box as txt name. If you want to access the button, you can use btn save here, and you can change the caption, or you can change the color. Whatever property you want to access, you can access it by using btn save dot. Then it will display the property and methods. Alright, now let's go to the demo and work on server side controls. So let's go to Windows Explorer and point to ctemp1. That's where our virtual directory or web application is pointing. So here we will create a new text document, and we will name it as ASP 004 server control. So here we will name it as Aspx. And open this in Notepad. Let's open with Visual Studio itself. First, we will add a page directive that tells that language is C#. Next, we open the tag for a script, and we state this will run at server. And here is the closing tag for our script. So after placing a h1 tag, here we are placing a form tag, and this is the form start and the end. Inside the form tag, we have a label, then two server-side controls. And for the form, we are giving ID as my form, and we are stating that the form will run at server. In the ASP, if you see, this is the tag ASP text box, and the second one is ASP button. ID we provided for both the control. Next, run at server we specified for both control, and here we specified button caption as save. So inside you can write the script code. Here if you see, we placed the page load here, protected void page load, and we are accessing our text. So this is the text box, right? Based on the ID, we are accessing the text box name, txt name, and accessing the property text, your name here, right? Here if you see, we haven't used any Visual Studio template, or we haven't created any project. We just created a text document in the Windows Explorer. We set the extension as Aspx, then opened that single file in Visual Studio and started typing the code. Here if you look at, when I put dot, it will not display any IntelliSense. So only stuff what it is doing is syntax highlighting. So Visual Studio provides creating the ASP.NET project with a proper template, and we will see that sooner in the next coming videos. I mean, how helpful those templates will be when you are writing the code. It will display proper syntax, it will display the IntelliSense, all those stuff. Anyhow, here we are creating the file, treating Visual Studio as a simple text editor with some syntax highlighting. Alright, now we have the server side script here, which runs on server, and here is the form. This runs on server. This is a standard HTML code, right? Now we will go to our IIS, refresh the content, and you can see server side control page. Now we will choose browse, and you can see how it is working. So the page load, during the page load, it loads the text box content with the text which we assign here, txt name dot text, your name here, and that's what displayed here in the text box. So it does nothing. We just learned how it generates the control. We saw two control, right, in the body with the ASP text box, ASP button. And if you look at the source, you can see there are two input control. Enter your name, then it says name equal to txt name, type equal to text, value this we assigned at page load, and the ID is txt name. Similarly, the next one is the type submit button, and the name is save, value is save, and ID is btn save. So this is the caption, right? Here if you look at, we use the text as a save, and when it is transforming that in the HTML control, it sets value as a save, so that the save will appear as a caption, button caption. Right? Alright, that's all here. So just now you saw the demo, and in the demo you saw that we haven't compiled the code, we haven't generated any binaries. It's just a Aspx script file, and when we are running that, the IIS server generates the HTML code required for the two input control and pushes that to the browser. And we saw in the browser that how the server generated the input controls. That means there were two input tags, one with type as text and another one with type as submit. That's all here in this video. Now you have a basic knowledge of how IIS and the ASP script works, and how you will mix HTML with the ASP code. In the coming videos, we will start creating the project in Visual Studio 2017, and going forward we will use the Visual 2017 IDE to generate the ASP code. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching.